Hey, this is Coy Boy. This is my new Warbonnet Thunderfly. Wanted to do a quick video and show it off. I'm really liking this tarp. It's the seal poly, 30D seal poly and bushwhack camo. You can get it in 20D seal poly and save a couple ounces of weight, but you can't get the bushwhack camo, so I went with the 30D. Plus the 30D is supposedly a little more durable, makes sense. It's 11 foot overall. It's 103 inches wide overall. I got it mainly for this bridge hammock. This is the REI quarter dome air hammock, and the stock fly that came with it was a lot narrower. I actually set them up over each other, and it was 13 inches from the edge to where that fly came, so 26 inches overall narrower, and that's a lot of real estate under a tarp. Makes a big difference when the wind's blowing. We had the aftermath of Hurricane Alberto blowing through last night. It poured down several times. I mean, poured down. Still sprinkling a little this morning, but not bad. I've got it set up in semi-porch mode. That's where you just raise one end up. That makes it a little easier to get in and out from under the tarp. It raises this end about a foot, but then the water runs off real easy. It don't pool there. I've seen it when I've had it set up in porch mode with both the trekking poles, and I've had to actually stick my hand in under, I would be under it, and it would just look like it's going to cave my tarp in, and you just have to reach up and push on it to let the water run off, and then get up and retension your tarp, take one of the porch mode, one of the poles out from under it. But this works good, and I can get out and in and out, like I say, on this end pretty easy. Get out on the other end still if I need to, but I don't see the point in having it. It still lets a good breeze blowing under. The mini doors, they don't come down quite as low as the what I call winter tarp doors do. But in the summer, I'm just wanting, to be protected from a blowing rain, but still let as much breeze in under. And I could feel the breeze last night. In fact, I could see it blowing the netting on my tarp several times. The doors, you have to, they clip together, and most people set up a string on both sides, and they'll kind of crisscross them to really seal it down. The way I've got it set up, this was too short. It's what I had left over when I did all my rigging for my tarp. It won't even touch the ground, so you can't stake it down. It's too short to go around a tree that big. So what I came up with was use my suspension, my ultimate suspension straps, and I just run it through a D-ring right here. I could have just ran it behind it, it wouldn't matter. But then I've got my tarp hanging, or my backpack hanging off of it. My backpack is pretty empty, but probably weighs 7 or 8 pounds as it is right now. And that's, it could be heavier because it's not putting a lot of tension on this right here. But I noticed last night when the wind was blowing that it was barely moving. The whole thing was wiggling, but it wasn't moving in or out. It was just wiggling overall. Like I said, with the wind blowing, my underquilt stayed perfectly dry. There's a little spot in under there that's perfectly dry. I had to seal these right here. They're called the pole mod, where you can put a trekking pole across, or a tent pole, or they sell poles, or you just use a stick. But you put one on each side and tie it up, and it holds it up, gives you a little more headroom. But I don't really, I'm 5'11", I just set my tarp up as high as I can reach. You can see I've got plenty of headroom in under here. I can stand up. My head does brush it just a little, but not bad. There's the doors from inside. The whole tarp weighs about 15 ounces, I believe. Then you got to add, you know, these, and I've got titanium stakes, but they're not much lighter than aluminum. There's some limbs that blew off last night, so yeah, it was pretty windy. But anyway, this bridge hammock, it's got plenty of room. There's over a foot right there, and there's probably 4 inches on that side, but it's catty-wonkered, or it's angled up the way my quilt's sitting in there, the weight of it. But back to these straps. The stock suspension, you got to have about a foot between here and the tree, and I've only got about, I said a foot, about two and a half foot. Well, I've only got about 8 inches right there. They'll hold 400 pound max, and that's both straps, not just one, so it's not 800 pound. And I actually bought the lighter set that was rated to 220, and I'm 250, so I was a little bit leery of them. So I went ahead and got the heavy duty set. I think they weigh about 6 ounces, so it's almost the exact same weight as the whoopee sling that came with a quarter dome. And definitely a lot easier to set up, and I can use trees closer together. Did I mention this is an 11-foot tarp? I kind of wished it was 12. It would cover them carabiners, which don't matter, but it just give you a little bit more protection overall. The width's perfect. If you wanted to go really wide, go with a mountain fly. And if you could, you know, wanted to save some weight, I don't see any problem with the mini fly. I think it would work just fine. But anyway, that's it. Just a quick overview of this tarp. And